Okay, welcome back. It's probably been a little while since you've seen me because you've taken test number 3. You're getting ready to move into those final chapters, chapters 13, 14, and 15. So first of all, let me say you are in Business 140, Personal Financial Planning with online Professor Joe Lane. Are you kind of getting the feel for this online stuff? Of course, a lot of you have taken online classes in the past. This is kind of new for me, this online stuff. So we're about halfway through the second half of the semester. We have finished test number 3. So now we're moving towards the end. Again, we have chapters 13, 14, and 15 that we're going to be doing. Then you'll take the final. The final will be chapters 13, 14, and 15, but it will also go back chapters 1 through 12. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about chapter 13. Then I'll do a video for you for chapter 14, a video for chapter 15. And then I'm going to do a finals review. Now, we're not going to have to review in the finals review chapters 13, 14, and 15 because we're going to do those right now. But I'll review for you in the finals review the things from chapters 1 through 12 that you'll need to probably know most of that material. Well, again, I hope you're doing well. You realize if you're watching this video, you're getting close to the end of the semester. We don't have a whole lot more to do. So maybe we need to go ahead and get started with chapter 13. We're kind of in the investments. You know, we've talked about investing in stocks. We've talked about investing in mutual funds. I think that was chapter 12. Well, chapter 13, we're talking about investing in mutual funds and real estate. Now, my family, we were not huge investors, during my career in stocks or bonds. Matter of fact, those things we really never dealt with. What we did most of our investing in were mutual funds. And I think as we kind of start off here, I'm going to look at a couple of things on my handout. Sound investment planning, and you want to do sound investment planning, involves finding investment vehicles with the risk-return characteristics that are compatible with your financial objectives. You say, well, that's kind of heavy, but here's what it's saying is, sound investment planning for me involves finding the type of investments that has the risk-return characteristics. I mean, finding me the kind of investments that I'm comfortable with the risk. Because some investments are riskier than others. And I wanted to find investments that were compatible with how I feel about risk, while at the same time would allow me to accomplish my financial goals. Well, for me, that was in my family, that was mutual funds. Now, you know what a stock is. You go out and buy a stock. You buy a stock in CenturyLink. You buy a stock in Walmart. You know what bonds are. Bonds are debt. And businesses will sell bonds to finance usually capital outlay expenditures. Okay, let's talk about what mutual funds are. They're a little bit different, so I want to do it this way. Let's say that you were going to the grocery store and you were going to cook a big steak dinner with all the trimmings. So you wanted to go to the grocery store and get all the stuff that you needed for that. So you would go and you'd get the steak and you'd get maybe the baked potatoes that you were going to do with that. You'd get the salad. You'd get whatever the items that you wanted to have a big steak dinner for whomever you're cooking this for. And you'd put all those things in the buggy and you head up front to check out. Well, let's say that you wanted to cook a big seafood dinner. Okay, you go to the grocery store and you fill up the basket with the things that you need for a good seafood dinner. And you go to the checkout to check out. Well, what you have in that basket is going to be a little bit different than if you were cooking steak. Okay, one more time. Let's say this time you're going to do hamburger, fries, and all the trimmings. And you're not going to McDonald's or somewhere. You're going to cook it all up yourself. So you go, maybe even throw in a couple of hot dogs. So you go in, you get the hot dogs, you get the ground meat, you get the buns, you get all the stuff you need, you make sure you have plenty of ketchup, the french fries, and you go and you check out. Each of those baskets were a little bit different. The basket for the hamburger dinner was different from the steak, was different from the seafood. Okay, now just keep that in mind for a minute as we talk about mutual funds. Here are some folks that are thinking about buying mutual funds. You're thinking about buying them. I'm thinking about buying them. We're thinking about buying them. And they're thinking about buying them. More people invest in mutual funds. I don't know if I have that number down here or not. Yeah, individual investors today, mutual funds is the vehicle of choice. 9.2 trillion in assets are under management by mutual fund companies. That's 9.2 trillion. Most investors, the majority of investors, are mutual fund investors. Okay, so here are the investors. Here is that mutual fund company. Investors purchase mutual funds. Okay, we're the ones that's going to be investing in mutual funds. So far, so good? Then you've got this mutual funds company. There's different mutual fund companies out there that you can do business with. Just like you could do business with different companies where you buy stock. But these are mutual fund companies. So you're paying your money, I'm going to make that green. You're paying your money into this mutual fund company. Now, the managers in this mutual fund company, these are investment experts. These managers, they are selecting and purchasing different types of securities. They're purchasing stocks of all, they may be purchasing blue chip stocks, technology stocks, overseas stocks, retail stock, all different types of stocks. They're purchasing stocks. And they know what they're doing. They're also purchasing different types of bonds, municipal bonds, bonds from companies, maybe throwing in a few T-bills from the federal government, some other types of investments and this sort of thing. They're buying all these types, they're selecting and purchasing all these different types of securities. And they're putting them in these different baskets. Now, if you look, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, types of funds, what types of mutual funds can you buy? You see where it has growth funds? Growth funds would be, you would be buying funds that you feel like the value of those securities are going to grow and grow pretty quickly. Hopefully you're going to try to get some capital gains. Buy low, sell higher. So this basket has growth funds in it, primarily growth funds. Oh, hey, you want to really go big time. You want to invest in some funds that probably have a chance of having some really big growth. So I'm just going to put on this one aggressive growth funds. Now, if you just had to make a wild guess, and you don't because you're smarter than that, which of these two has the higher risk, growth or aggressive growth? Well, aggressive growth. Is the risk too high? Depends on you. These are well selected, but these are selected that they have a potential for pretty high growth, pretty quick, pretty aggressive growth. Let's look at some more. Value funds. These are funds that these managers feel like are undervalued, and they're going to come up. The value of those funds are going to increase. How about, I'm not going to go through all of these. How about growth and income funds? Okay, growth and income funds means you feel like these funds are going to have some growth to them, but they're also going to have some income. They're going to pay dividends and things like that. And then you may want to do just income funds. These would be securities that may not have much capital gain to them, but they over time have proven that they pay a dividend to their pay interest dividends to their clients. All right. You see where I'm coming from? So the idea here is it's like going to the supermarket. What do I want to, what do I want to purchase from my mutual fund company? Go back here. Sound investment planning involves finding investment vehicles. These are all different investment vehicles with risk-return characteristics that are compatible with your financial goals. Okay, an aggressive growth is going to be certainly a little more riskier than just a pure income. But remember this, whichever ones of these are, this is not just one fund. This is not just one stock. This is a basket full of different ones. Remember that's theory of diversification? It's really important to diversify your investments. So you understand a couple of things. Well, let's see if we have them here. Why invest in mutual funds? Many people looking at my handout, we kind of have a feeling for what mutual funds are. Many people simply lack the time, the know-how, or the commitment to manage their own securities. So they turn to others' mutual funds. That's me. Many people simply lack the time. I didn't feel like I had the time. The know-how. I didn't feel like I had the know-how to be an informed investor in the stock market. Or the commitment. It didn't interest me that much. I wanted to make money with my money. I just wasn't interested in committing a lot of my personal time to it. So what I did was we invested in mutual funds to let these mutual fund managers manage our investments. And we chose the type of investment that felt was best for us to accomplish our financial goals. Now we chose growth and income. Growth and income means in my basket, I have some funds that are more like income funds. They're going to pay dividends or interest. Then I had some funds that were growth type funds or potential for growth. Okay, so let's go. Why invest in mutual funds? Diversification. You're more diversified. You're not investing in one investment, one stock, one bond. You got a basket full. You've diversified. Number two, professional management. That's what these people do. These managers in here, they have different managers that manage different ones. There are certain managers that manage the growth, certain managers that manage this, certain managers that manage this, and this is their specialty, professional management. Financial returns are relatively attractive returns. Pretty good returns on mutual funds, especially, again, depending on what type of mutual fund that you choose. And number four, convenience. It's easy. We did our investing through, my wife and I both were in the school systems. We did our investing through the school systems. We had that opportunity to invest in mutual funds. Okay. There's one other thing here, the concept of pool diversification. Looking again at my handout. We've already talked about it, but we understand a process whereby investors buy into a diversified portfolio of securities for the collective benefit of individual investors. So what's happening here, these money managers are buying a diversification, a diversified group of things, and they're coming up and setting up these different baskets depending on what would be most interesting to you. Does that make sense? That's why we like mutual funds. Now, you may say, you may say, I only want to do bonds. I only want to buy debt. It's okay. I want to buy stock. And I'm only going to buy these type stocks because I'm going to really study it. That's okay. But for a lot of us that lack the time, the know-how, or the commitment, we like the advantages of mutual funds. A lot of diversification, professional management, good financial returns, and very convenient. So this is kind of, I'd be familiar with what mutual funds are. I'd be kind of familiar with the types of mutual funds. Now remember, be familiar with, you're not going to list them, but I have them on your handout pretty well, the types of mutual funds, growth, aggressive growth, value, and I'd be familiar with why folks invest in mutual funds. Okay. Again, we liked it. We liked it. Other people took care of it for us. It diversified our investment, and we could choose the kind of basket we wanted to invest in, or the type of investments we wanted to invest in. Let's talk a little bit about investing in real estate. You can invest, I'll probably run out of the picture, sorry. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, you can put your money in a savings account, you can put your money in a CD, you can put your money in a T-bill, you can put your money in commodities, agricultural type commodities. That's complicated. You better know what you're doing with that. Or you can put your money in real estate. Now you know you have put some money in real estate when you buy your house. And we've already talked about home ownership. If you buy a house, you take care of that house is in a good location, that house is going to do what? Appreciate, grow in value. So you've already probably done some, those of you that own a home or plan on owning a home, you've already done some real estate investing. But let's look at that page a little bit about real estate investing. The first statement I made is for many years it was quite lucrative. Real estate investment is still a good, secure, relatively good investment. Now, 2008, when we had the recession in 2008, part of the reason we had that recession had to do with the real estate market and the home market. The restrictions to buying homes were almost went away. About the only thing you had to do to be able to buy a home was have a pulse beat. And so a lot of people were buying homes that couldn't afford homes. And so everybody was trying to buy a home. The demand went up for homes. When demand goes up, the price goes up. The price went up artificially high. The prices for the homes were really more than what they should have been bought for. People were buying those homes because they could. They got in the homes, they couldn't pay for them. And then we had a kind of a crash of the home buying market. Now, again, if you didn't understand all that, that's okay, but that was back in 2008. The market has come back very strong. So real estate is a good investment. Some people like to invest in land. Some people like to invest in apartments. Some people like to invest in little strip malls. Some people, just different types of things. So it's a relatively good investment. Okay, let's look at what we want to say here. For many years, and I think even now. Now, I know right now we're in the middle of this coronavirus. You may be watching this video 3 or 4 years after the coronavirus happened, but right now as I'm filming this, we're in the midst of the corona environment and the economy has gone wacky. That's a very technical term, wacky. So real estate and everything else is wacky right now. But I think, and I've said this in some other videos, if we can weather the storm, or when we weather the storm and get through this, I think our economy will come back strong, all phases of our economy. It may take some time, especially for some phases like the cruise industry, the airline industry. But I think real estate will come back and will remain a relatively strong, a relatively good investment. Okay, he said, why would you include real estate in your portfolio? Provides greater diversification properties. So I've got a few stocks, or I've got some mutual funds or whatever. But real estate, you know how we talk about diversifying your portfolio? When you buy real estate, that's another way to diversify your portfolio. And again, if real estate is normally a pretty good investment, you've got a good investment in your portfolio. All right, good diversification. It's less volatile. Stocks will do this. Stocks can go up, go down. You try to buy them low, sell them high. But land does not have the up and down type curves. The up going up one day, down the next day. It's pretty steady, and that's good. That's good. And it says also, he says it's less volatility. This stuff, and doesn't move in tandem with stocks. Just because stocks are moving this way or that way doesn't mean real estate's going to do that. Real estate's just if done right, if done properly, real estate is just a good, solid investment that can make money for you if you do it right. Okay. I think one thing I want to do, so I'd be familiar with the fact that just kind of what I've mentioned, that for a lot of years real estate has been a relatively lucrative investment. And why do you want to include it in your portfolio? Well, because it has greater diversification properties than just stock, and it's less volatile, those things that we just mentioned here on the handout. I think one other thing about real estate, let me get over here where you can see this. He says this. Now again, I'm going to go back to when we're actually doing this video in the middle of the coronavirus. Before buying real estate, evaluate the outlook of the national economy. See, this would be very tricky right now. It's very confusing right now. 2 months ago, our national economy was probably the greatest it's ever been. Right now, our national economy is horrible because of the coronavirus. So this is kind of, I know the economy was really good, but now it's not. It's bad because so many people are out of work. So this is kind of a toss-up. What do you think? Is it going to come back strong? I think it will. But this would be troublesome right now if I were buying real estate. Number 2, evaluate interest rate levels. Now there's a plus. Interest rates are down and going down right now. So we've got, and interest rates for the last several years have been low. So interest rates as far as buying real estate, quite good, exceptionally good right now. Supply and demand for space. Now see, there's another tricky one. Right now, as I stand here, there's not a huge amount of demand for space because right now our nation's kind of at a standstill. But I think when the economy comes back, as it was a few months ago, there's a pretty strong demand for space. That means if you want to buy apartments, you want to buy strip malls, you want to buy things like that. And then regional considerations. Now you want to look at the national economy, sure, but what about your particular region? What's it looking like in your particular area? How can you find that out? You can talk to the local Chamber of Commerce. There's usually some economic development people in your area. Maybe real estate agents or real estate brokers, local government. You can talk to them to get a feeling for the regional considerations. Right now, there's a real push in downtown West Monroe to kind of reinvent downtown West Monroe. A lot of construction going on down there, a lot of renovation going on down there. It's going to be kind of the place to be. And so, that might be a regional consideration. Hey, real estate in that area, not bad. Okay, so I would be familiar with, before buying real estate, some of the things you might want to evaluate before you bought real estate. I think we've done a lot in here that we wanted to do. Just looking through my notes to be sure. Yeah, we've talked about why investing in mutual funds. We want to be familiar with that. We've kind of basically talked about what a mutual fund is. We've talked about the types of mutual funds. I'd be familiar with the types of mutual funds. Talked a little bit about real estate, some things you need to be familiar with there. So I think it gives you 2 other investment options. For me, it was the key investment option because this is the investment option that we use. Now, are you saying, Joel, everybody should invest in real estate or everybody should invest in mutual funds? No. Remember, sound investment planning for you involves finding investment vehicles, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, with risk-return characteristics that are compatible with your financial objectives. So what's good for me may be very good for you as well. You may want to go a different route. But the main thing is you can see we've talked about the different routes that you can go. Okay, I think that takes care of chapter 13 as it relates to mutual funds and real estate. If you remember how we did this, in those chapters prior to this, I have to make a loud noise. That loud noise alerts Professor Pierce, who is the executive director of my video series here, which is probably going to go viral. I'll probably be a mega star in the world of online professors very, very soon. But I'm supposed to make a loud noise, and that way he knows that I have ended a session. So if you want to shout when I clap my hand, I've enjoyed being with you in mutual funds and real estate, and I'm going to go there, get my hairdresser, touch up the hair and everything, and then I'll be ready to hit chapter, it's not chapter 1. Sorry, it's chapter 13. I've said that about 100 times, but I better put that up there. So I'll come back in a few minutes, and I'll take care of chapter 14. So we are done. Thank you.